Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Mrs. Suni here. If you didn't know, now you do. So with everything that's been flying on social media about Mr. Derrick Jackson, I was about to call him Jason. Yeah, Jackson. I feel like, you know what, it's such an ideal time to talk about narcissism. It's a topic that I've literally had on my list for the longest to talk about, and I thought like, you know what, today's the day. Let's do it. So you know what, like, share, comment, subscribe, and let's get right into the conversation.
Audio Jungle.
So I feel like to start this conversation, we have to start off with a definition of narcissism. And it is excessive interest or admiration of oneself and one's physical appearance. And I don't think it's just like the physicality alone, because it's also to do with how people perceive you. It's about you being very selfish, you not having any empathy whatsoever. You having that great sense of entitlement, a need, like a overwhelming need of admiration from other people. And I believe a lot of people that exhibit these traits are people who genuinely feel empty on the inside. It's the lack of esteem, a great sense of insecurity, and they've masked and padded this with accolades, with people viewing them a particular way, and that not really being genuine. So a lot of the people will be people that when you meet them, life of the party, charismatic, charming, sweet, but then when you sit back and look at certain things they do, you're like, what? So these are the kind of people that sometimes they will do all the charity work and all that kind of stuff, but if they're not publicizing it for the whole world to see that they're actually amazing people, then there's a problem. So those kind of people, loads of the times you literally will look up to them and be like, oh my god, this person is amazing, they're saving the world, they're doing all this kind of stuff. But if you get close to them, or you see how they treat people that are meant to be in their corner, you're like, make it make sense. Like, make it make sense. Then also you have the people where if they're not bragging about something, so you may be coming and you're like, oh my gosh, I just got a promotion, I'm so pleased, I'm so happy, I'm now being paid £50,000 a year, and they're like, oh, I started off with 50,000 and now on 180k a year. Like, okay, cool. So it's almost like that whole idea of downplaying your thing, again, in the bids of feeling relevant. Then you have the people who are just toxic, like they take advantage of people. Literally, if what you're doing doesn't make them look good, if what you're doing is not serving them purpose at that point in time, cut it. Like, they don't care. They're usually very manipulative. It's usually a case of what I can get, what I can get, what I can get. Pour into me, pour into me, pour into me. You who? You don't matter. And then you know what? The ones that I actually find really, really weird are the ones that you genuinely feel sorry for. Because it's almost like they paint this narrative, the world doesn't get me, you don't get it, I'm beyond my time, I'm in, you're so 2000 and late because you don't understand. And they usually feel this sense of entitlement that the world owes it to them. And then you always feel like, oh my god, is everything okay? And then with this kind of people, sometimes you then do a lot of pouring into them because you feel like you're trying to help them to pull out of that sad place. And then sometimes the more you pour, the more you realize that this person actually doesn't give a heck. Like, there's no iota of gratitude for the fact that you're maybe spending time with them, you're pouring into them, you are checking on their well-being, Because again, that sense of sadness is their sense of, that's how they practice their narcissism. That's the only way I can put that. Because them doing that is them feeling like the world owes them something. Like, you just don't get it. And you know, you have those ones that just make those ridiculous comments just so that they feel like they're above you. Like, they'll be the ones that and you know what? I feel like sometimes they know what they're saying is out of order, because someone could pull them up for what they're saying and it will be like, oh, okay. But then they'll say it again. Why? And a lot of the times, yeah, you find all these kind of people are like the trolls of life. Because again, in pulling other people down, they feel elevated. And I think there's this common saying that people used to say that you don't need to like remove someone else's crown for you to, or like remove someone else's shine for you to shine. But again, there's that consistent need of doing that to other people. And a lot of the times when you read about it or analyze this stuff, so it does take some like stepping back sometimes to see some of the attributes that they're exhibiting. Because again, you know, when I've made some of these examples, you can think of one person, oh, they do this, and then think, oh, actually they do that as well. Oh, but they don't do that, because it's a mixture of different things that can make that person who they are, and actually for them to be labeled as a narcissist. A lot of the time, loads of people are able to admit the fact that they have these traits, but are incapable a lot of the times of changing that, because changing that makes them have to deal with the void that they actually are trying to fill with this overbearing, insensitive way of life. And one of the ways I've seen this time and time again is with how they treat people. Like, a lot of them would never take ownership for what they said, because it's always about how it makes them look. It's never about how it makes you feel. It's about them being right. And a lot of the times, I know we use this term so much now, people gaslighting, but they generally do that. It's a case of they make you question. Sometimes they make you question your sanity, man, because you would be in a conversation with a person and you'd be like, well, you said this and it made me feel a certain way, and they'll be like, I never said that. And you're literally questioning. I've been in this situation one too many times where you're questioning the fact that, wait, am I hearing things? Am I losing my mind? Maybe this didn't quite happen like this. And then they use emotive, manipulative ways to make you feel like you're the one that's done something, like you're the one that's thinking something. And generally, if you are dating a child, a parent, a sibling to these kind of people, it's absolutely exhausting, because sometimes you feel like you want to record every conversation you've had with this person, so when they're saying the nonsense they're saying, you can play it back and be like, hold on, let's play what you said again. And you know, the joke of it is that a lot of the time when you call them out, and you know what, I genuinely ensure that when I found out certain people had these traits, and I didn't even realize that was what I was looking out for initially. And then I will make sure I have certain conversations with them when there are other people around. And I know that sometimes when you then be like, okay, the person's adamant, I never said anything like that. And you're like, okay, hold on. Yo, bro, did you hear what the person said? And if the person dare confirms the fact that they said what they said they didn't say, you're all the enemy now. And this is why it's exhausting. I'm laughing, but this is why it's exhausting, because a lot of the times they would never admit to the fact that they're in the wrong, because it's always about them looking a certain way, them being right. And that's the part that makes it extremely exhausting. And in my opinion, if you're with somebody who is unable to have that self-awareness, you know what, I've done this wrong, and I need to actually change it. Because sometimes they feel remorse for what they've done, but the entitlement they feel means that they can't back down. It means that they aren't able to change that. So I might feel bad, but you know what, I'm going to go back and do exactly the same thing, because the feeling of validation it gives me is more important than how you feel. And that is such a sad place to be in any form of relationship. And you know what, I'm going to link it to that whole Derrick Jackson whole situation. The sad part is not the fact that he cheated alone. The sad part is the fact that it feels like he's belittling or trivializing the extent of what he has done to his partner and to the audience that have literally taken his word as gospel. And a lot of the times, this manipulation is used especially with religion. And this is the spin that he's taken in this particular respect. And being a woman of faith, I just found that to be so sad to watch, where it's then a case of as a person of God, blah 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 blah. And I'm not saying that people don't make mistakes. Mistakes are inevitable. But again, this is the same person that says, I have no sympathy for the people that do this. I have no sympathy for anyone that cheats. But essentially, that's the life that you were living. And it's okay. And that to me is the pure definition of narcissism. But again, I genuinely feel sorry for people who aren't able to see the reality of what they're doing. But sometimes I feel like they sometimes see it, but they're so caught up in it that they're like, no, I actually need the superficial feeling. And that's the most important thing to me. And for that reason, whoever they're hurting is irrelevant. Whatever they're doing is irrelevant. Like even him putting his wife in that position where he was holding her hand in the interview. In my head, I'm like, you know what? You've done this woman wrong. Don't drag her into the mess. You deal with your mess. You confront your people. You apologize to the people that you have essentially led astray. And yes, people are adults. People should obviously they should essentially have a mind of their own. They should be able to pick the sense out of the nonsense out of what people say, because there were loads of things that he said that were valid. There are loads of things that people say that are valid. Doesn't mean that the entirety of everything they say and do and everything is correct. And that's the reason why, as a person of faith, I believe that the only person that you should put your standard to is Jesus, is God, and not to a person. Because even me as a person, I know that I make mistakes. I know that I sometimes indulge in feeling more important, and then like essentially I have done in the past where I've made someone else's feelings, I've almost like invalidated their feelings just to feel better at that point in time, and that was wrong. And if you were putting me as a standard at that point in time, then you would clearly be exemplifying wrong behavior. And so the whole idea is the fact that certain times we just need to take several steps back and actually review what we're doing, why we're doing what we're doing. And if there are things that are narcissistic in traits that we're exhibiting, if we say we genuinely want to be good people, we want to be better people, these are things that we definitely need to address, especially before you go into a relationship, before you start a family. Because again, if you don't address these are things that you're going to pour into other people. These are things that you're going to do that are going to affect other people's well-being. And if you say you truly want the betterment of people, bruh, work on you. And I think that's literally the be all and end all. Like the whistle stop to this is the fact that everyone needs to just take that step back, review yourself, review what you're doing, why you're doing what you're doing, how you're doing what you're doing. And if there is that iota of you're doing it merely just for your validation, like just solely to make somebody else to feel less, solely just to feel like you're superior, then you need to stop. Because those manipulative ways, those insensitive ways, in the long run will push even people that love you away from you. And I'm certain that that's not the kind of life, because you see, no one's an island. That's not the kind of life we want for ourselves. So you know what, this is self-reflection time. Work on you. You know what, if you like topics like this, let me know in the comment section below, and we can talk more about things like this, practical ways that we can work on ourselves to be the best versions of ourselves. So I'll catch you on my next video. Like, share, comment, subscribe, get into the conversation, and let's do some self-analysis in the process. Have a great week, guys.